It's super loud. So this 2-foot resonator is 3.5 inches and a 5-inch body, so that is 1.5 inches of resonating.
The issue is that the car has always sounded like crap. Well, this time we're going to resonate it and then muffler it really nicely. Just fine tune it to see what they sound like. And because there's no way of looking up rotary Corvettes and hearing what they sound like, we're going to have to do some experimentation. So what we're going to do is we're going to fire it up right now with just that and see what it sounds like. Sound is incredible. It's a very healthy sound. It's not over resonated like the FC. The 3-rotor is even more so. That sounded just clean. This is something that's going to overly summarize all the shit that I've been doing, but you can see all the wires are getting more and more dense and packed in. But I have gotten the understanding of this car so fine-tuned that I'm able to hack the car in many ways, and I truly mean the word hack. Manipulating the car while it thinks it's still stock, but pretending it's not. I'm even faking a torque signal, giving whatever I want it to do to the stock traction control so it knows when is the engine cutting power and whatnot, all faked. I made one mistake and I cut into the lateral G-force meter that this car has, turn it on the car, take a turn, doesn't change. I had the same color wire for the ambient air temperature. So I have ambient air temperature. I can tell you what the temperature is outside compared to inside the engine right now. I think they like each other.
Famous hammer trick with your holes.
You never know what is going to walk or hop through this door. We have the weirdest things happen at this shop, and thanks to Simply Safe, I feel safe leaving this door open to let the shop vent. That is honestly such a big liability. We have cats show up. We have people on bicycles show up in 2 in the morning. You guys saw that on one of the previous videos with Simply Safe. Thanks to Simply Safe, I can just focus on this and they do the rest. I've got all sorts of monitoring, everything that I want to monitor, including all the motion sensing, cameras, door, glass break, smoke detector. They even have new things. They have a lot of options that you can add to your Simply Safe system. They have pre-configured packages to start with, but you can add more as you expand. The thing about Simply Safe for me is it's great for my apartment, it's great for my house back in Michigan, and having that front door monitor works wonderful. Here, I can make sure that the cat is both safe and not causing me problems while I'm not here. And of course, obviously the safety of all of the inanimate objects here, it's making sure that all of my stuff stays my stuff. You can save 20% and your first month is free when you sign up for interactive monitoring when you go to simplysafe.com/RobDahm. That's simplysafe.com/RobDahm. All of these different widgets have just a hint of how much chaos has been in my life lately. This is a cheap Tech 2 clone, which is what GM had back in the day to program and diagnose this car, and then this is an HP Tuners buddy Anthony let me borrow. With that going on, we're still gonna fire the car back up and take it for a little spin with just the resonator. I want to hear how it sounds like that. But I should have some more advanced functions working on the car at the same time. I can make it lope a little bit more, but I'm kind of enjoying like trying different things with the idle. I don't have beeping going on right now. I have low washer fluid, which is annoying because I shorted that out. But everything else is working really, really well. It's loud, but it's got a nice clean pop to the sound of the exhaust.
It's not making my ears bleed.
Yeah, it's not making my ears bleed, but it's not quiet either. I could let it drop down. I raised the idle that little bit, but we can set that to 1300. That's how much control I have over this car. That's me. I don't know how it's me. I do know how it's me, but that's the sort of control I have going from to rap, 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 rap. I couldn't help it. I had to do a nice boost pull. That was an excellent test. You guys will hear it somewhat on the camera as well, even though it won't capture all the bass or all the treble. There's this like punch sound, and I want this car to have that punchy sound, and it just sounds right, especially when I get it down to the semi-P brapping. It feels like a standalone, amazing car. I got up to 8.5 PSI on that little run. You can see the rear wheels doing the burnout on that last pull. Pretty sick there. The front wheels are doing normal front wheel things. And so I had about 25% wheel slip. And so it started cutting ignition as soon as it hit about 5%. And so that's why you see the red line down here. As soon as it just goes nuts, you see that dying off. And that's because it's not igniting every single bit of fuel coming out of that motor. Sorry, the red one is actually my pedal. It's not EMAP. One of the things you can hear is the pedal bouncing more. I dull the pedal down in that middle area so it's less sensitive. It's like rubbing your tip before you put it in. Can make it less sensitive to survive. You never did that?
No.
Oh, no, me either. Nah.
Things I love about 3.5-inch exhaust is that it makes me feel right at home. It's just, easy to work with. I'm just natural with that diameter, that's just exactly, just flows for me. And this is the tail end of the exhaust. So this comes out of the resonator. This is a little loop-de-loop thing right here to get by the transmission. It comes up over the axle and then dumps out to 3-inch, so that muffler's 3-inch. I'll actually just show it in the car since Joel didn't catch any of this.
I like to be surprised sometimes,
Hooks up over there. Slide it right into right there.
God damn.
It's as high up as I can get it. There's like maybe a 1/2 inch between that and top of the car, so that way the axle doesn't get burnt up.
Yeah, the trans can flex that little bit.
A lot of space around it.
That's excellent. I don't know if back pressure was ever a real big problem. If there was, it was the stock Corvette titanium stuff that I love, but hated the sound of. It certainly had the opportunity to create back pressure with the amount of exhaust flow that we have. No more.
So now this guy's gonna come to 3-inch, come out right here, 90 back this way, come back into the muffler, and come back out this way. But since this is all said and done, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna weld this part up, especially since over here it slips in. So I know exactly where this is going. All this over here is set in stone. So if I don't weld all this up, there's a chance for it to move, and then a little fraction of an inch over here becomes an inch or 2 inches over here. So what I like to do, I like to solidify everything in place to make sure nothing moves on me, make sure everything just fits, especially with such tight fitting stuff like this. It's perfect.
I couldn't resist making dad puns about this whole little belt fed thing on Instagram. What these are 10,000, hopefully, 10,000 ohm pull up resistors. They can resist to anything, but I'm going to use them to pull them up to 5 volts. What does that mean? The Corvette ABS system expects 2.5 volts and then goes up and down from there. The Haltech is good with, hey, let's start at 0 volts and then spike up. And it does actually go under, but the problem is when I connect the two together, they synchronize to a very low level. So what I'm doing is kind of overriding the Haltech a little bit and pulling it up to match, so that way when the car turns on, everything's at 2.5 volts. The stock system doesn't know any better. So basically the Haltech's allowing us to do whatever. The stock system is very particular about its ABS. I've used quite a few of these. These are 10,000, so they're very, very high resistance. 3 each on each of the 4 wheel speed sensors, so it's a total of 12 in that cluster right there. And then they're all being pulled up to 5 volts. That should get the signal with all the calculations and everything up to 2.5 volts resting. Very interesting thing there, rather technical, but you can only buy 100 of them on Amazon, so it's a minimum. Some stuff with a lot of them.
So one thing that makes for the perfect weld, and this is why my welds come out really good all the time. Number one most important rule, the fit up. The fit up has to be so perfect that you could just fuse without any filler rods, like that. Because if not, then it doesn't weld right, and you're trying to fill up a gap and it melts away. So if you have perfect fit up, waste all the time in the world on your perfect fit up, please. That is the most important thing. That's why, look, all this fused. I don't put a piece together unless I can fuse it without adding rod. That's literally like God right there. That's, yes.
Super hot, but worth hotboxing inside of this car for what I just did. Now I have 2 unique outputs to the Corvette to fake the Corvette's own engine from running. So one of them is actually the crank angle sensor. So I am pretending that there is a 5.7 liter V8 inside the empty engine bay. And so what it'll do is the computer tells the stock system, hey, the engine's starting to run, and it'll roughly match the RPMs of the rotary engine, but the stock traction control system requires the existing engine's RPM and its torque output, which I'm faking both of those. So watch this. This is as simple as I'm gonna fake it back to 0, which is gonna cause an error. Boom. I've just told the car that the engine is no longer producing any torque, which is true for a rotary engine. The car wants to see certain data. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that back up to a number it's looking for. So I'm gonna go ahead and clear it. And it stays off. The Haltech is somehow telling the stock car what to do. So we're gonna go ahead and fake that out, and I've got a little table here telling it, hey, here's approximately what you're expecting for torque. So that way the ABS system works flawlessly how we want it to by faking its inputs. As with every step of this, there's tons of testing involved, and what I'm about to do is a real quick test to see if I can fake out the ABS system and not trigger a traction control error or active traction warning, so we can use both of that with the advanced features of the Haltech. So Joel's gonna ride along with me and see if my dash lights up like a Christmas tree or it stays single light. Not yet. Okay. It thinks the other engine's on, so it says service vehicle soon. Okay, so we'll see if the wheel speeds work just by moving along. Ah, damn it.
Sounds really good.
Yeah. It was very promising, but I know exactly. I have to raise that just up a little bit more. It worked for a little bit. As soon as it got over about 5 miles an hour, that's when the voltage went extreme enough to piss off the stock car. 1.7 volts. I need to get this to 2.4, 2.45, and then it won't trigger as it goes crazier. But that was the whole point of that. I have new resistors on the way, but we're much closer to that. So here's a real quick test on seeing whether or not my little squealy wheelies show up on the dash, and if I can steal the vehicle speed and get it to work with the stock system. I hope no lights pop on. We'll see. Look at that, active handling warming up. Go ahead and hit the brakes. Oh, it was pulsing! It was ABS active! Yes! I could feel it pulsing. Once the whole ABS system's all fine-tuned and active handling is working, well, we've got torque vectoring, rear wheel clamping, we've got all of those. It took faking out the stock computer. So the stock computer was telling it that, hey, I'm driving more than 10 miles an hour basically. And then the ABS system had to fake that it was going properly with correct levels. And as you saw, it worked.
This is gonna come down some more. I just have it up there that way it stays in place. This is the tightest you can get, 3-inch bend. Since they can't technically bend this tight radius in a 180, they can only bend it in 90s and 135s. Okay. So I had to get two 90s, cut them, all super tight and tucked.
It is time to experience this car as its first iteration of final. So this is no longer my beautiful titanium. It's the shit that Isaiah put on there. It's a sad day for me, but a happy day for all of you. So we're gonna go ahead and fire it up in here. We've got Patreon live streaming. That sounds amazing. Completely different than it did with the titanium GM exhaust. But I will tell you right now, it's got a very distinct brap. It's got that very crisp noise. We'll see. We're inside of here, so that amplifies the intensity. But I think that we're very close. I didn't mean to rev it that high because it's so cold, but I went to 5,000 and the car is like, oh God, yes, do this, go. Let's fucking go. If you're hearing what we're hearing, which is a clinking, kind of clink, 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 clink noise, I was getting really worried because it sounds like it's in the torque tube area. It is, but it's not. There's not a flex piece on the exhaust. The exhaust is hard mounted to the car. The engine is not. The two are fighting. You definitely want to put flexes on your exhaust. That thing broke traction so quickly that any sort of weird variation you'd be hearing was actually ignition cutting trying to traction control the damn car. Those tires just lit up instantly, and that was still like 60% throttle. But oh my God, she sounds really good. There's some fine tuning I would do. I think it's a little too punchy. I think
That's literally what I was saying. It's like, it's loud, but it's not an annoying loud because it's not a high-pitched sound anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if another muffler would make it too soft.
right.
My boy asked to be muffled again. I'll shut him right up, you know?
The time and effort we spend to learn what works best, that's the sort of dedication we have to this craft.
You've never
Kinda
seen
like it.
You've never seen a Corvette like this. Come on.
No, it's one of one.
But so we heard it before, how it sounds with one muffler. This is how it sounds with two mufflers. Let's hope that it gets to that right tone. This is gonna sound different than if I actually put the muffler on. Because if I put the muffler on, I'm gonna put the muffler same spot over here, and that's gonna split the sound waves in half and do some weird stuff.
So what we want to do is show you the difference between having two mufflers in parallel versus two in series. This is the series, one after the other, and then the other one is what happens when you have two in parallel.
This is one muffler. This is two mufflers. That's it. That's it.
That was amazing.
I'll give it a little rev. Yeah. It definitely muffled. That was very clear, and you can actually start hearing all the other car noises. That's incredible night and day difference right there. Now that, again, that is in line, so it's muffling the same signal twice, one and then the other. So I'm curious to see what that sounds like, splitting the signal and only going each through one muffler.